Yeah. I don't know if I love this music. Well, no. There it is. Yeah.
I'm building an alliance.
Will you join us?
It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
What is up, everybody? Why does the camera look weird? Why is Rick Del Santo frozen? Where did Jaden go? All these questions and more will be answered tonight on the Alliance Guys podcast.
I am frozen like crazy. Wow, it's not getting any better either. Sorry. So
you know, if you could, that picture is fine. I mean, you could just be audio if it doesn't work.
It is awfully handsome now, isn't it? So,
I mean, you look great.
Well, thank you. I guess I'll have to try to fix it. I don't know if we have some little weird weather here today. It's been windy, cold, and so maybe that's the issue. So maybe, I hope.
You know how hot it was today? I had to wear shorts. It was 86 degrees here in Southern California.
Thank you for rubbing it in. That we're on the opposite side of the country. Thank you.
What was the weather like for you?
Earliest in the morning when I woke up, it was 13 degrees out. Okay. And I think the highest was something like 36 at some point. So.
I'm so out on that. Real quick, I want to shout out everybody who's watching us on TikTok. We are live on we're live on YouTube, Twitch, and on TikTok. And I want to say thanks for everyone checking us out live. I do appreciate you joining us. We are the Alliance Guys. My name is Jay Cal. Of course, Rick Del Santo is the handsome man next to me. And down below is Jaden, who is he's repping his favorite wrestling promotion, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. Gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with me today. How are you guys doing?
Well, it wasn't quite 32. It was about 36, but it's okay.
Oh, gotcha.
I guess this is a dumb question because I know that Rick, you're in Connecticut, and Jaden, you're down in Jersey. I mean, how different is the weather from state to state?
I think it depends, really. I have no idea.
The further north you get, the easier it is to get cold. And once you hit North Jersey, it's the way the weather pattern works. It's completely different even in the southern part of the state. So North Jersey gets colder weather just because of its proximity to New York and the mountains and Pennsylvania and the way the weather patterns hit. And again, the further north you get, the colder that is. So we still get slightly little bit of the southern heat and air and moisture that comes up a little bit. So it keeps us a little warmer, but it also means our weather patterns are quite usually more insane, especially when it comes to storms.
Do you find that to be accurate?
That's probably pretty accurate, yeah.
If you're following us on TikTok, we are currently advertising the Dome Globe NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I have my own version right here, but if you need one, you can get it right on the TikTok shop. It is literally $85, and I think the shipping's free right now. So if you are in the market for a NWA Championship belt, please click on that link and you could get one for yourself.
If you really want to sell some, you should get the dark blue black NWA TV title because everybody knows that's the better version of it. You should sell it.
Well, I'm limited to what they're offering on the TikTok shop, and I'm lucky they had anything NWA related. I was going to put up like a mic stand, but I figured this would be a little bit more appropriate for the podcast.
I noticed that Dog has the ability to do such a thing now too.
Yeah.
What exactly? How many can you do? What's the criteria and limit? And what can you do?
So I'm still kind of learning myself, right? So if there's anyone who's an expert, please feel free to chime in. But essentially, I think you could link up to 150 items, but at one time, I think you can only have one on the screen. So we have the NWA World Title that'll probably be up there for the entire podcast. But like I said, free shipping, $85. It's a beautiful title, a beautiful championship belt. It's attached to history. And of course, if you have one, that means you know you're pro wrestling. If you've got the Dome Globe, come on, man, forget it. It's 10 pounds of gold. It's Sweet Charlotte.
Just so you know, though, if you show up at an NWA event, you have to unify it with Thrillbilly's NWA Championship. So and that's what happens if you show up to a wrestling promotion with another company's belt or with a belt. You have to defend it. It's the rule.
Hey, David Valentine. That's the first thing he said that wasn't batshit crazy. I like the red version of the TV title better. That's what I'm talking about, David. That's what I'm talking about. Got that one right here, too. So pretty. Jaden and I have been going back and forth with this, I think, for a good part of like 15 years now, discussing which title belt we prefer better. So
probably longer than that because we've been talking longer than Dog's been around.
No, that's true. I don't know, I don't know the timetable when you and I actually started developing a friendship, right? Because you were on the same message board that I was on, but I can remember very clearly speaking to you like in 2010 and 2009 and 2008. And I don't know, I remember speaking to you on the phone during these years, so I don't know when we started developing our friendship, but it's been at least 20 years.
I say it started, at least in the process, in 2008 because that's where I seem to remember it.
Okay. So
because
years.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2008, the Alliance blog was already formed, and I was doing the podcast.
Were you?
Yeah. The podcast was started in 2008. The website was formed in 2007. The message boards that we used to be on go back to 2001.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's the height of the message board era.
I remember you and I started talking when you invited me to join your message board.
Well, yeah,
regularly.
Because the NWA shut theirs down. Okay, so Rick, here's the story, right? Here's the scoop some 25 years later. The NWA website was under construction almost all the time. And one of the things they had that was really special was this message board. And it connected, again, Jaden and Sean Mega that you'll see in the chat sometimes, Big Chris Dog, of course, our own DKM, myself, and a lot of other guys would talk on this message board all the time. And very similar to the way this podcast goes, when things were good, we would celebrate it. When things were bad, we were honest, we'd talk about it. And apparently the office wasn't too thrilled with that, because when things got negative, so did we. And they said, well, we're gonna be doing some different things on the website. So to create a little bit more bandwidth for the website, we're gonna shut the message board. Now keep in mind, the message board was a third-party application. It wasn't even connected to the website. So it was a total bullshit reason. And they cut the message board. And I'm sitting there going, you just alienated 100 people who were on that message board every day. Huh.
I remember this message board. I remember this whole thing. So this was a number of years ago. Yeah.
So I started mine at the Alliance blog. I started a message board on S2 Echo board or something like that. And we had many fun years on that message board. I was accused of being an NWA employee. I was threatened with lawsuits from the Sheik, and one other person. Let's see.
You hated women and
Oh my
women
God.
wrestling.
There used to be this gentleman who I use that term extremely loosely, who he came on the message board. Now I know because I did the research. I found out that he's a little on the
spectrum.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not just a little on the spectrum. I think he has both feet firmly planted on it. But he was an adult male who lived in a special needs home, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. I love it.
Okay.
You know, he was enjoying life, and I'm happy for him. But because of the state of women's wrestling at the time, which was mostly bra and panty matches, I wasn't too into women's wrestling, and I kind of made that point clear. I'm like, you know, there's nothing exciting to me about women's wrestling in 2003, 2002. It's kind of just boring to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy did not like my take and started telling all of the women wrestlers out there that I hated women's wrestling and that I was a misogynist and a racist and everything else you could say under the border. And then we had the then NWA Women's Champion on the podcast, Tasha Simone, and she was like, I heard you don't like women's wrestling. And I told her, I said, I don't like what women's wrestling is right now. I feel like, you know, this isn't wrestling. And she goes, well, I agree. And I'm like, okay, so let's talk. And by the end of the interview, she's like, I don't know why that guy said so many bad things about you. I'm like, what? So,
Wow.
yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Sounds entertaining. Sounds like fun.
Sean Mega's over on TikTok, and he goes, and that's why you still hate the Sheik. I hate the Sheik. Look, hate is a very strong word. I don't think I hate anybody, right? But I dislike the Sheik because he stole the 10 pounds of gold. I feel like anybody who steals, you know, a wrestling championship that they should have, you know, they were booked to lose the title. You should have just done the job instead of running to Japan and giving the title to 0-1. I don't know what the hell that even proved. Anyway,
stuff like that happened back in the day. So, you know, Stan Hansen ran over the AWA world title with his truck, stuff like that, because he didn't want to drop the title. So
he wasn't a big.
It wasn't that he didn't want to. It was actually he was promised.
Yeah.
Baba bought that belt for him, and then they reneged on the deal.
Yes. Forgot Jaden, excuse me. Aiden's my daughter's boyfriend. Jaden, you know, he knows all the facts. See?
I try. I don't call myself a wrestling historian, but I've definitely tried to be a student of the game.
I mean, through conversations and the conversations we always have, I mean, I do learn quite a bit from you when we discuss things. So, yes. See? Is that a compliment? Is that considered a compliment?
And when I get good things, I send it to you too, like all the good wrestling stuff and news and cool things I find.
All the stuff that Jaden sends me is either Transformers or G.I. Joe or Thundercats. And it's usually like the coolest like toys that I can't afford to buy. I would love to.
It's also news and cool facts about the Transformers, Thundercats, and G.I. Joe. So I know what my crew niches is. I send DKM videos about cats, videos about food, and videos about girls' booties.
Oh, there you go. I don't get those videos.
I will now put you on the booty.
Is there any ladies watching? Do we have a female fan base? I don't want to say anything offensive. Yeah. That's my favorite body part, just for the record. So.
Don't say anything offensive. And I think what you said was fine. I think you're good.
Okay. All right.
Real quick, I would be remiss. If you guys didn't know, this is our annual finale. Like, this is the final episode of the year. With next week, I will not be available for the podcast, and then the week following is Christmas. So this is our final episode of the year. And I do want to say thanks to everybody who's hanging out with us and who has hung out with us throughout the year, put up with all of our shit, because collectively we can be a little bit much sometimes. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with us and having a good time. But I would be remiss if I didn't do a Willie Bowen joke of the day, which was, hey guys, Tyrus has a new move. It's called bottom feeders.
It's a movie.
You're right. I apologize. I misspoke. Sorry, Willie. I butchered it. If you get another joke, I'll put that one up too. And And then shout out.
Nice to know he's got a second movie out. I loved his original one, Free Willy.
Well, there was another one too. Willie says Tyrus doesn't feel cold. He doesn't feel the cold weather. Wells. Because the wells have the blubber.
Wales is very cold. It's much colder than Scotland.
I didn't go to Wales when I went to Scotland. By the way, when I was in Scotland, there is a football club that is known as the Inverness Cayley Thistle. And I'm happy to report that I got to go to one game this year. And since I went to one game this year, they made the Scottish Cup. And they are now in round, I think, 4. They've beaten 2 teams. This last game got postponed like 3 times because of the weather. But go Cayleys.
Something, I'm going to get a little Scottish fact for you. If you are a famous person from Scotland, they tend to have these little blue circles they put, like a little blue plaque, and it says your name and where you're from and that you were born there. And if it's around your location, they tend to put it close as possible. Otherwise, they put it in some other historic building or something like that you came from there. And the one thing I always found is the only person who has a plaque who hasn't been born yet is Montgomery J. Scott from Star Trek.
That's funny. That is that's comical. I got to go when I was in Scotland. I went to the Isle of Man, which is just off the coast. It's actually equal distance between Scotland and Ireland, off the coast in the Atlantic. And as I was out there, I went to on that island is where my last name originated from, and I never saw I've never seen the name Cayley on a sign or on a monument or a memorial or anything like that. And I saw Cayley on many signs and monuments and memorials, and it was pretty freaking cool, man, just to kind of have that moment. It was one of my greatest experiences I've ever had.
If I ever get to Europe, I'm going to go off the coast of Greece and go to the Isle of Lesbos.
Thank you. You want to say hi to everyone? The camera's right there.
No, that was a terrible introduction, Mr. Rick.
No, that wasn't Rick. That was Jaden.
Jaden.
I was going to say. Jeez.
Rick,
she should expect it from me.
And
I'm frozen.
Yes.
Rick is right now being Elsa.
You got the hand. You shouldn't get the finger.
I don't want you to be in trouble.
I've always been nice.
You have. No, and that's why she was caught off guard. If she knew it was Jaden, she'd have been like, "Oh, that's typical Jaden."
Yeah.
If you go on TikTok, you can buy the NWA World Heavyweight title.
No, I'm good.
Oh, it's only $85.
I'm good.
Maybe I'll buy a new one because I sold mine.
Did you really?
Yeah. Well, I used to carry it at conventions like an idiot, kind of like a mark. And somebody, former NWA World Champion, was there, got it signed, and then sold it to a person that was walking by probably 20 minutes later.
Can you tell us the world champion, or is this going to be a mystery?
Sabu.
That's awesome.
And I think that somebody else was in town like the following week too. That the person was going to get it signed from maybe Shane Douglas, maybe I don't remember.
I got Shane Douglas.
He actually counts. Yes, nice guy, great guy to talk to. So.
He was very. I brought the belt, and it was almost kind of like a rib for everyone else. Like, I'm going to make people get mad at me for having his name on here. And he was just like a sweet guy. He was like, "Oh, man, that brings back great memories." And I'm like, "Really? Do tell."
He never hated the NWA. It was purely a publicity it was purely to put the company on a different level.
A lot of that was coming from Paul Heyman as well. From what he said, and he also said that he wanted to stop bashing Ric Flair and the NWA, but they basically made him do it even more, like go even more hard because it was kind of that's what like people were loving it. So
I know we have a lot of people here are angry at ECW and Shane Douglas for that, but it really was the big factor to really put ECW on the map.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, there was other things, but that really pushed them to the level where, and then the name change, they said out of Eastern, they went to Extreme. Great marketing.
Wasn't it, now correct me if I'm wrong, Jade, but wasn't a lot of the animosity towards the NWA strictly at Dennis Corluzzo? Because I know he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. You've even said in the past where like he did a lot for the business and he did a lot to hurt the business.
Well, first of all, the old joke about Dennis Corluzzo was he'll give you the shirt off his back, but he probably stole it from somebody else. But yes, there are still buildings that will not do anything with professional wrestling in my state because of Dennis Corluzzo. The Woodbury Armory is a good example of that.
A lot of people have learned from him though as well, like guys like Tommy Fierro and stuff like that. Is
Yeah, he had a cast of misfit toys they used to call the Carnies, and a lot of the old school Carney promoters were derivatives of Dennis Corluzzo, like Gino Caruso and that not Gino Caruso, Gino Moore and that dead animal he had on his head.
I was gonna say, be nice to Gino Caruso. He's a nice guy.
I meant to say Gino Moore, and he's not a nice guy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm worried about.
I'm not familiar with him.
Wherever he's buried, I'm worried about it being a toxic landfill.
Sorry.
And I hope it's not a pet cemetery, because if that thing that died on his head came back to life, we'd all be in trouble. His toupee looked like something we would shoot normally. It's on site. It's one of those cryptids that like something happened, like a hairball that fell off a Yeti or something. And I don't mean Ron Reese. And then there was Joe Panzerino, who was allegedly running scams off of collecting disability while running the wrestling promotion, and then Doc Diamond, who is definitely no friends with Dr. Lawrence Zirconium. Zirconium was known to be a fake diamond, and Doc Diamond was known to be a fake wrestling promoter.
So let me ask you this: what about Fred? Because Corluzzo bring Fred into the whole fold too?
Fred is also part of it, and I like Fred. Fred will admit 100% that he's a Carney.
Well,
yeah. But the Carney group that came from him, and some people, I don't have any issue with Rick. What was it? Not Rick O'Brien. Rick. He was former partners with the Savaldis and Marquez. Ricky O, yeah, Ricky. I have no problem with him, but some people had a lot of heat with him, and he was always really nice to me, even if he's a dirty, stinking, rotten New York Rangers fan.
Wait, he lives in New Jersey and he's a Rangers fan?
He's a North Jersey guy, which a lot of North Jersey people are Rangers fans.
Okay.
They were around a lot longer than the Devils, and they are established as a North Jersey team for a good part of it because a lot of people are in New York. I think he's actually a New York guy. It was a transplant, but now he doesn't live anywhere near here.
Ricky Otazu is the founder of JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, which was bought by Brett Lauderdale and made into GCW. So, if you hate Game Changer, you got to blame Ricky O slightly for that. That's all.
Lightly not true, though.
Okay.
Game Changer Wrestling was originally another name, and I think it was a couple different promoters. I know, I can't think of their names to save my life right now. I think Ricky O might have even been one of them, but I don't think JCW turned into that. I think JCW was absorbed by that promotion. I'm trying to go back. It's been a long time, but I think I remember Game Changer. I think Game Changer was originally part of Ricky O too, but I think it was something separate because he also had NWA Jersey. He was part of NWA Jersey, but it wasn't called NWA Jersey. He had Liberty States and
Liberty States was him and Marquez.
It was also at whatchamacallit, Tommy Savoldi owned it towards the end, I believe.
So that was when it became NWA Pro Wrestling East. Gotcha. And that was and that was basically NWA on Fire.
Yeah, it was kind of NWA Liberty States actually ran here in Bridgeport Connecticut. I got
Yeah.
the main event. It was Bridgeport, Connecticut, at some like church type hall. Main event was the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express of Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey, and that is the famous match where you probably seen on YouTube. I believe, was it Bryan Danielson and Kamala? Was that the match?
Yeah,
Against
Bryan Danielson and Kamala.
Yeah, that was at that show. I was at that show, and this was going back. It's got to be 20 years ago now, probably.
Yeah.
I was like, I just kind of went there on a whim when I found out it was happening, and it was kind of awesome actually to see. And the Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express was not the greatest match by any stretch, because Dennis Condrey at that point couldn't really even move. But it was fun to see those kind of two teams. Danielson and Kamala, I thought, was like the weirdest matchup I probably ever seen at a live event. But it's kind of went on to have this like legendary status.
It was also for the Ring of Honor Championship.
That is correct. Yep.
Yeah. I had a hand in helping design the NWA Liberty States Championship too.
Did you really?
Yeah, there was a bunch of ideas thrown around about what the title should look like, and I recommended a few things, including putting on the One World Trade Center on there.
I didn't know if that was on there. I guess that's funny.
Yeah,
that's cool. It's funny how we're all connected and we're so far apart, but like that whole Liberty States run, like I was very invested in that because that was Dave Marquez, and he was bringing a lot of guys from Southern California out there, including Fergal Devitt, aka Finn Balor. Carl the Machine Gun Anderson was working some of those shows. Rocky Romero, TJ Perkins, and of course Bryan Danielson, who was the ROH World Champion at the time. And it was during those there was NWA Liberty States and then NWA Pro Wrestling East, and those were the shows that were booking, Christian Cage versus Jay Lethal for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. And they wanted, I guess they were trying to book Sting, but they could never get Sting. He was just he was priced too high to come to these independent shows. And it makes sense, you get it. But
he also had a bunch of people like Greg the Hammer Valentine and the Patriot himself and Seer too. So it was a strange dichotomy of old school WWF wrestling with modern indie guys and championship wrestling from Hollywood and very few actual NWA wrestlers.
Was that the Patriot being Tom Brandy or actually Del Wilkes? Probably Tom Brandy, right? Because he's been using that gimmick for years. Hey, funny story is that when I met Dave Marquez last week for the first time, I told him the story. He started talking about, was it New Japan USA that he started? That he was part of? And I told him how I got in trouble for bootlegging New Japan USA DVDs, and he laughed so hard.
I was at so the first event they did was at the Hollywood Athletic Club, which they made this venue. Basically, they had a live DJ the whole time, and this was before my wife. Now this was with my first wife, and she was pregnant, and I was like, I really want to go to the show. She goes, okay, let's go. And it was like all of the American talent were in like black trunks, like the very like the newborn,
like the young boy.
Yeah. And so like it had Joey Ryan, and it had TJ Perkins. Gross. It had Rocky Romero, Ricky Reyes, because at the time they used to team as the Havana Pitbulls. I think Bobby Quance was on this card, Aaron Aguilera, and then it was like there was a shoot match between I forgot his name, but he's in the WWE right now. Former IWGP champion. What's his name? Nakamura.
Jaden?
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
He had a worked shoot match with Ken Shamrock. And I was like, what are we doing here? And like China was there and performed live with a band. So Sean Waltman was there because at the time they were a couple. And the main event was Bryan Danielson versus Heat for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. It's like the first time that title had been defended in the United States in like 20 or 30 years. And it was such an unbelievable match, and it was so upscale, and it was so swanky and cool. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I can't wait to go to the next show. And the next show was a TV taping in Santa Monica at a strip club, not a strip club, excuse me, at a strip mall with a strip club next door. And the main event for that show was Samoa Joe versus Togi Makabe for the ROH World Title. And I was like, this is amazing, man. This was just great.
Old school. I miss some of that old stuff when wrestling had a feeling of amazement and you used to enjoy the littlest things. Speaking of, by the way, Tom Brandy, I've been on events with him in 4 different gimmicks.
He's worked 4 different matches, right?
Wait.
No.
Hold on.
No?
No, because you'll know why when I say why, but go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, no, I want to hear this. The 4 different matches. Let's go.
He didn't do 4 different matches, but over the years, I worked with him in 4 different gimmicks.
Okay.
Tom Brandy,
yes.
Sal Sincere, Johnny Gunn.
Oh,
Johnny Gunn, yeah.
I
And
keep
the Patriot.
forgetting about Johnny Gunn. I saw Johnny Gunn and Jim Powers team up at an NWA New Jersey show when I would go up there.
How many years ago was that? Like in the 80s?
No,
90s?
like 94, 95, probably.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, and I think it was, we used to run up, me and my buddies used to go up to Dennis Corluzzo / Tommy Fierro shows at that time period. I think it was NWA All-Star Wrestling or something. That's how it was advertised on the flyer, at least. No, I'm going back, like I said, 30 some odd years, 30 years probably. So
there's a very good chance you and I were at some of these very same events.
It's very possible because we used to go to Tommy's shows all the time, we just had fun, just driving up 2-3 hours just to go to shitty wrestling.
I am jealous of your guys' history because you were able to watch so many NWA wrestling matches over the years, like not just the modern stuff and not just the stuff that, Jim Crockett Promotions, but you guys were able to go to those like Dennis Corluzzo shows. And the closest thing we had to that here in Southern California was the Grand Olympic Auditorium, which was the mecca for pro wrestling on the West Coast, but failed to, have that NWA territory from like 1986, I think, until about regularly to like 2000 when before Marquez got here, we had another Yahoo doing the NWA gimmick out here. But I recently did watch on Amazon Prime. If you have a Prime membership, you can watch it for free. 18th and Grand, and it's a documentary about the Grand Olympic Auditorium, which goes into a lot of detail about Eileen Eaton and the LaBelle family, and of course pro wrestling at the Grand Olympic, as well as boxing and roller derby and punk music. And it's such a cool little documentary. And if you don't know anything about, the Southern California wrestling community, or at least the history of it, and you want to check something out, I highly recommend 18th and Grand. Again, it's a free watch on Amazon Prime. It was such a good, even my wife, who doesn't really care about pro wrestling, was watching it because of the history of it. And you find out how much of a badass Eileen Eaton was. And they were talking about how Judo Gene would literally, people would watch their manners around his mom, Eileen, because he was always sitting in the room. And if you spoke out of line, he'd choke you out. Just ask Steve Seagal what happened when he crossed Judo Gene LaBelle. Dude shit his pants.
That's actually true, I believe, right?
I've heard it from multiple sources. So if it's not true, I'm gonna keep saying it is until someone sends me a cease and desist. It's getting hot in here, man. Jesus Christ. All right.
Because it's 86 instead of right now, where I think it's in the mid to low 30s here.
It'll drop to when I went to work on Monday.
He's going to say the 60s, by the way.
No, on Monday morning I got to work and it was like 40 degrees, and that was chilly.
We got like 3 more months of this crap, Jay. So chill out over there,
Yeah, literally chill out because it's so hot over here. I pay taxes for this weather, man. Come on.
I pay higher taxes than both of you.
You probably do.
Most likely, yes.
I'm a business owner. I don't pay a lot of taxes. Come on now.
I was going to say skimming the business.
That too. All right. So I think the first important thing to really dive into, I mean, we've been doing a lot of talk, but as far as, this is an NWA podcast. We talk about the National Wrestling Alliance. And I think the biggest news coming out of this week is we have a new NWA Midwest Champion. And I don't think that that's been big news in a long time. Lightning One era, Exodus Pro joined the NWA territory system back in 2023. They introduced the Midwest Championship in 24. We had a nice little run with PB Smooth, almost a year-long run. We had almost a year-long run with Dante Casanova. Both these guys, terrific athletes. Both these guys, phenomenal wrestlers. And I really feel like Dante Casanova could be the future of the NWA. However, last Saturday, he loses the title during what started off as Richard Holliday versus Dante Casanova. There was a cash-in from Carson Bartholomew Drake. He gets involved in the match, and then there's a double cross when his man Anthony Green turns on him and setting up Richard Holliday to connect with his finishing move and gets the victory over Dante Casanova to become the new NWA Midwest Champion. And it's so funny because I know Jaden had just posted something recently about wanting to see Richard Holliday more in the National Wrestling Alliance. And then boom, not only did we get to see him again on the territories, but he won the Midwest title, which is kind of a sacred championship belt for the modern day NWA. And I think it's pretty cool, but I want to get your take on it, Jaden, because I know that you've worked with Richard Holliday in the past. And I know you have a lot of positive things to say about him. And I'll get your take too, Rick, but I just want to hear you guys tell me why this is a great move for the NWA.
First of all, right now, Richard Holliday's hot. That signature maneuver of his, Pink might not acknowledge him, but I definitely will. But wait for you to drink, by the way, I think sometimes. But yeah, he is getting his flowers like his just desserts. He has used that signature maneuver. He's used his new form of expression to really create a buzz around himself. He was a hot prospect for MLW, and everybody thought he was a can't-miss prospect. And then I believe he got leukemia, and he was out for a while. He lost a lot of weight, and it didn't feel like he was enjoying himself. And he literally told me, like, all of a sudden, he just stopped giving a shit about what people thought and just wanted to start having fun. And I think it's showing. And I think that because he's doing that, he is really reinventing himself. He is really showcasing his creativity, his ability, his marketability. He is most marketable for a reason. And I think now the NWA, at least Exodus Pro, was smart enough to try to jump onto that and use his new form of expression to try to gain interest in their company and put the championship on somebody who's moving up in the wrestling world, not somebody who's coming down. And I like Dante Casanova. I think he's got star power too. And if he wins that championship back against Richard Holliday, I think that'll help Dante Casanova. If somebody else beats Richard Holliday, I think it'll help them. But right now, it is the right move to showcase that championship belt, even if it is ugly as hell and looks like a coin you'd find in a shipwreck. It is a great move to showcase that championship belt and the company's name and attach it to a person who's got a rocket to the moon, baby. And Rick, you have some history with him because of where he's from.
From Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, that's true. I saw him just a couple days before on the Gotham Wrestling show up in New York, and had a chance to say hello to him and talk to him. I haven't seen him in a while. And, this match, and I think he posted, what was it, earlier in the day, tonight I'm winning the title, the Midwest title. And literally, bro, like, I tuned in and then I tuned out because honestly the show wasn't really all that great. But I tuned in to see. Hey, am I wrong? Did you watch the whole show?
I watched it too, and I was not a big fan. But
I was not. I really, literally tuned in to watch two people on that show. Jermaine Marbury, who basketball guy. I worked with him the night before at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and Richard Holliday. Richard Holliday, like Jaden said, he's hot right now. He's hotter, I think, than he was in MLW, and now he's got like kind of, in my opinion, won kind of like a major championship as part of the National Wrestling Alliance. It's dude, I think this is going to be good for the NWA. It's going to be good for him. It's going to be good for NWA Exodus Pro. Hopefully, the main roster NWA will probably bring him in maybe for the 78th anniversary. Like they usually bring other people for like the territory for one of their longest fuck gauntlets. Sorry, pardon my language. You know what I'm saying? So maybe Holliday will be a part of the 78th anniversary show. Maybe he'll be brought in. It seems like these territories are kind of like scouts basically for talent to go to Corgan's main roster. So, and I think that Holliday, our wishes may be coming true finally about us saying how bad the NWA should be using Holliday.
Well, and what's crazy to me is again, I can understand why a company like the WWE right now might say, hey, you know what, we just don't have a spot for a guy like Holliday. And I could even understand where somebody like AEW could be like, hey, look, we just don't have that kind of a spot for Holliday. But the fact of the matter is that guy literally should be everywhere else. MLW, I don't know why he's not their world champion. And, I don't really pay as much attention to MLW as I used to. I think Mad Kruger is their champion right now. But that would be a guy I'd put my money on. I'd get behind him. I know that he was at United Wrestling Network. I think he was at the show you were at, Rick.
Correct. Yes.
And that's in New York at the Levity Live in West Nyack. I know that he was also not too long ago out here in Southern California for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I know Dave Marquez sees the value in Richard Holliday, and again, he's worked with our friends over at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. He's worked with our friends over at Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. I could see the value, and I could understand why people are using him. I'm just surprised he's not in a bigger position than he is right now, Yeah,
but look at him. He's working every single week. He, say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sorry, got tongue tied there. He's always traveling. If you follow him on social media, he's always posting that he's traveling. He's always posting his dates. That dude's busy 4 or 5 days out of the week. If he's not training, he's back at the training center either Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday working out. You know what I mean? Trying to get his stuff in.
And it's kind of like Matt Cardona in terms of you'll see him everywhere, but without having that WWE pedigree behind him. And I think that just speaks volumes to how good of a wrestler and the value that promoters see in Richard Holliday, that he's working so frequently without the machine of the WWE promotion machine that was behind him. He's doing this on his own. And I think that's huge. And what do you guys think? Is 2026, is that going to be the year where he does make his power debut? Is he going to be a part of the NWA roster in 26, or will is this a short-term thing for the NWA?
They need to lock him up soon because right now there's TNA is going to a bigger television station. They need something.
They're going to be looking for more talent too, as well. Sorry to cut you off, Jaden.
Yeah,
but they're going to be looking for more talent to fill in that space in January. What is it? The end of January, right? They're going to be looking to be making, no pun intended, more of an impact on the world of professional wrestling on this new channel. Seriously, they are. So they're going to be looking. They need to be, a step ahead and try to lock up a bunch of guys. Holiday could be one of them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And that's what I was trying to say is he could be somewhere else if they don't lock him up soon. Yeah. The NWA needs something. They probably can't rely on Cardona anymore. Cardona still has some kind of name value and has a little bit of, it was Zack Ryder for a minute on WWE television recently. Right. And if the NWA, they can't even capitalize on that because they still got to wait a long time for that match to happen. That's, spoiler alert, it's going to happen soon on NWA Power, like in sometime next year, maybe like February. But they couldn't even capitalize on that. But the NWA needs to capitalize what it can because it has a wrestler with a little bit of a buzz who's got some good marketability, is really good at marketing himself. in Jack Vaughn, and they don't even capitalize on him. But they need to do something because right now the NWA, it has the ability to be hot. It's not something. There's some heat there. There's a little bit of smoke. I could feel it.
If you look at this week's episode, you'll see why they don't have the ability. They have the ability, but they choose not to. We'll get to that when we start talking about power.
And let's be honest, with the NWA and its power weekly programming, I always feel like we take one step forward, one step back. Not always two steps back and not always one step forward. Sometimes we'll get two steps forward, but I just feel like they're treading water instead of growing or diminishing. I just feel like they're still stuck in the same spot, and they'll have something absolutely amazing happen for them. Like Natty Neihart will be on a show, but they don't get the rights to broadcast it, or they choose not to broadcast it. And it's like, well, what are we doing, guys? Like
that would be something for huge YouTube views too, if you put that up there. And it's like I don't know. Billy is, to me, in my opinion, he's very good at being a rock star. He's not very good at running a wrestling company or a very good businessman when it comes to professional wrestling. And he needs to rethink his game and have other people. He could be the owner, but other people should run it. I think we've discussed this before.
Yeah, like
ad nauseum.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a business owner, right? And I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm not a great business owner. I'm in a very niche business. I don't have hardly any competition. Most of my business is word of mouth. I do a cute little dad jokes on Fridays, and I drum up business that way with word of mouth, and I have a wide variety. Right. I'm not some sort of rock star business owner, but my bills get paid and my family eats, so I'm doing something right. And I feel like if my company were to grow bigger, I would probably require to hire somebody to actually drive my business, because there's only so much I can do at the level that I'm at right now. I can't get my business much further than it is right now. And if my goal was to grow, if I was trying to become a multi-billion-dollar wrestling promotion or any kind of business, I would probably look to hire people who actually have had experience doing this sort of thing. And I'm not saying he needs to go out and hire Vince Russo or Eric Bischoff or something like that, but just people who've been around and have done this before, who have built wrestling companies up. I get it, but why not reach out to Jeff Jarrett?
Well, he's
contracted
to AEW currently, but regardless, there was a year ago when he wasn't, and that's when the NWA was in a huge pile of dookie, so it was, and it's, I don't know. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
There's just there's a lot of examples where we could say, okay, well, why didn't they do this, or why haven't they done this, or why haven't they done this? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's Billy's company, and he's going to run it how he wants to, and because he had so much success in the music industry,
you can't tell him nothing.
I'm assuming it's going to just roll over, and
he also, he doesn't, I don't think he invests monetarily enough in his, he does not have a good budget when it comes to hiring talent. He'll just, local indie guy who has no following whatsoever. He looks kind of all right. We'll bring him on for a couple TV tapings and pay for him to go from Florida to California or wherever. And it's just look at what was that guy's name? Cheese? Who was on a bunch of shows. He used to pull out a slice of cheese out of his fanny pack. A guy like that, they'd rather invest in something like that than bringing in somebody that could actually improve their damn product.
That guy Cheese is now a Savannah Banana.
Okay.
And you know who else? One more person too from the NWA. Who used to team up with Sam Adonis? Do you guys remember? No. He had the blonde hair, flat top. Oh, why am I forgetting his name? He was a manager. He managed Colby Carino for a minute too. Anyways, he's part of that universe, not with the Bananas, but with another rival team.
So is Ray Jazz and Fallah Bah, by the way.
Fallah Bah just worked a show here across the state.
What did you just say? Fallah Bah and Ray Jazz are part of the Savannah Banana universe?
They're not on the teams, but they're part of the extra talent. Ray Jazz does a fireman gimmick.
Oh,
Fallah Bah.
We saw the firemen. They came to Anaheim. We saw the firemen.
And Falaba does a Polynesian dancer gimmick.
Amazing.
Oh, boy.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
If the NWA needs a model, by the way, just follow that Savannah Banana guy. There's a guy who was right out of college who played some ball and had a cup of coffee as a minor league player for a team and got this position because nobody else would do it, and took a college level semi-pro team that was drawing less numbers than watched the NWA, and turn that into what it is now. Where now they're expanding to multiple teams and having banana ball leagues, championships, and games, and intramural games, and franchises, and other teams doing the similar thing other places. And this is a guy, and he's thrown away all his advertising. Doesn't have any advertising in the park, and will refuse to sign an exclusive deal anywhere, and puts his games free on YouTube. I'm just going to stress that one again because he wants everybody to see the product.
My wife,
that makes sense.
Youngest daughters went to see the Savannah Bananas when they came to Anaheim. They took on the firefighters, and it is such a spectacle. And my wife was like, "This is so much fun," and I'm like, as a traditional baseball fan, I'm like, "Ugh, this is kind of cringe." But the whole place was sold out, and I mean, the lines for merchandise were insane, like an hour-long wait. I remember I got up to my youngest was really hungry. Like, she's so hungry she was crying. I went to go get her food. It took me like 30 minutes just to get like a hot dog and a soda for her. And like the game's going on, and they're bringing out the guy, the Smalls, not Smalls, the Bambino from the Sandlot. He came out in there and did a pinch hit, and it's crazy what they do for that the Savannah Bananas. I almost called it Savannah Baseball. And
Banana Ball is what it's called if you want the official sport name.
Right, you're right. And I know even Dave Marquez recently posted on social media, like, how do we do that? How do we get there? How does wrestling get there? Because that's going to be the next big thing. The pro wrestling promoter who can come up with something for wrestling in the same vein as the Banana Ball will be the wrestling promotion that takes off next.
Well, that's the problem. A lot of the pro wrestlers are trying to do that, but they don't do it right.
Right.
The benefit is there's a lot of entertainment in a banana ball game, but it's still a sport. You know, they don't script the game itself, and it's an actual athletic competition. The Savannah Bananas lost more games, I think, last season than they won.
And they won where I was at.
They lost a lot of the games. It's like the Harlem Globetrotters losing to the Wizards, which happened once.
Did you know there's a third team in that fictional, well, I guess not fictional, but that universe of the Harlem Globetrotters? It's not just the Nationals. There's another team, or the Wizards.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I didn't know that, and I found out later. I was like, what? Wild stuff.
Yes, and they have multiple players. It's not just the same league for everybody on the that. But yeah, it's they try, but the problem is they wink and they take away the credibility of the sport to do the goofy stuff that makes themselves laugh. That what Savannah Bananas are doing is not to pop the boys in the back. It's actually to pop the crowd.
Yeah.
And there should be entertainment. I know Dr. Zirconium has been watching a lot of these things and taking my advice from my business classes, but he's also taking advice from other things. I was the dog representative recently at a Chamber of Commerce of Southern New Jersey meeting where I was there hobnobbing, and that's where I found out. I'll state a statement. I was extremely shocked how many business people liked old school pro wrestling, but especially the bankers. There were so many bankers there talking about for their. I mean, old school too. I mean, Snuka, Piper, Savage, and there was a few that liked Austin and stuff like that were there, and The Rock, like Attitude Era. But there was a lot of bankers at that, talking about old school pro wrestling. And a lot of them said, my brothers, like there's a lot of female bankers. My brothers I was the only girl, and all my brothers loved this, and I had to love it, and I grew to love it because that's all my brothers would let me watch, and they would practice all their moves and suplex me in the middle of the couch,
Real quick, it was Jamie Stanley. He is the other member of the Banana Ball. He plays for I think the Firefighters. No, not
of course. Dave Scooby would know. And happy belated birthday, Dave Scooby. And answer some of your damn social media. I write you all the time. You never say anything.
He's busy.
I know he is busy. He is busy being the Scoop Meister.
That's a great nickname, the Scoop Meister.
Yes. But somebody needs to. The NWA, somebody needs to steal stuff. I don't directly mean like having all the goofy shit, but there definitely needs to be more entertainment.
For sure.
That's what the NWA needs is entertainment, and it's not the Carson Shuffle. It's not some of the stupid stuff, those skits that they put on there. And here's the thing, too. It's a psychological phenomena where you have to be good enough to know something to know you're not good at it. And if you're really not good at it, you do not know you're really bad at it. So you think you're good at it. And just because he's good at here's the problem. Why he was able to take his music stuff and become a successful musician is because he's a talented musician. Just like the guy with the Savannah Bananas. He was taught to think for himself, but he had a vision. He had ideas. He had some talent. He had some creativity. He had a vision. The problem is, when it comes to the booking, you don't have that talent, Billy Corgan, Mr. William Patrick Corgan, whatever you want to be called. You don't have that ability to know that this is not good stuff. This is not money-making stuff. Hell, I'll quit being a bass player if you hire me to do it.
You only draw like a few hundred people, like maybe less than 1,000 each show. And what's he counting on selling? Vintage T-shirts with the vintage NWA logo on it? Like, he can't be making that much money.
Well, and the thing about it is, too, Steve G just said it, NWA needs more exposure. Absolutely. The thing about it is, earlier I was talking about the Grand Olympic Auditorium. The Grand Olympic Auditorium used to do like thousands of people on a Tuesday night during the middle of the school week. I haven't seen the NWA do 1,000. I mean, look, I was at the anniversary show both in Philly and in St. Louis, and
I think it was close at 77. I think it was close.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it was cool, but I don't think they got that many people there. Like, I just don't see it. If they did, I would be shocked and surprised. But, I don't know, man. I just don't think that. I don't know what his game plan is, and maybe that's his thing. Maybe we're not supposed to know his game plan. But so far, man, I just haven't seen anything to make me feel like, yeah, this is the guy. He's got it figured out. I haven't seen that yet.
I won't say his name, but I had a little brief TED talk with an NWA wrestler who said they don't understand social media. And I had a little TED talk explaining about why it is important. I hate doing this stuff for dog. I absolutely hate it. I hate pulling out the TikTok videos and pulling out the YouTube videos and putting out all the stuff and all trying to grab and going out there and hyping on local Facebook groups about dog and all the little things that I'm doing. But I was taught as part of the business class, every day you should try to do some kind of improvement on 3 aspects of your life: your personal life, your financial life, and your environment. So your personal life is you, your family, the people that are really close to you that mean the most to you, but you especially. Your financial life is your business, your pocketbook, your bank account, something like that. And your environment is the things and people around you, the town that you're in, the house that you're in, the people that surround you, the things that influence you, whether you realize it or not. And if you can't do a big thing, in one of those 3 things every day, then do something small. Because you can fill a pool with dropping 20,000 gallons of water in the pool, or you can fill it by 1 bucket at a time. The pool still gets filled. Yes, it takes longer, but that pool still gets filled. It's the same thing. If you can do small little things for all three of them to improve them every single day, then it adds up, and eventually it becomes a big thing. And social media is exhausting. By the way, Gem and Music Man, I noticed you added some of the dog pages. It's good seeing you. And I make sure to share that. I don't know if you noticed Gem and Music Man shared the shirt and said he's supporting us. But I don't even have a social. Do you see Jaden's socials anywhere? I don't want that stuff. But I helped Dog because I'm trying to help him succeed. Dr. Zacconi was busy doing what he's doing. But yeah, you got to do the little things one at a time. Even if it's the tiniest little thing, it makes a big impact over time.
And I'll be the first one to tell you, man, if I wasn't trying to promote this podcast and my business and the website, I probably wouldn't be on social media either. It's a very negative place, and it sucks sometimes. It sucks to have so much like toxicity and negativity all the time. And I'm a very positive person. I try to keep things real and positive all the time. And you know, being on social media sometimes will suck the life right out of you, but it's kind of like a necessary evil. And it's, if you're promoting wrestling, if you're promoting your business, or whatever you're promoting, social media is a great tool. It's not the only tool, but it is a great tool. And I highly recommend that, you know, if you are trying to grow your business, the three of us have done, you know, promoting, whether it be for our podcast or websites, or Jaden working with Dog, trying to promote that wrestling brand. Like, the three of us do it, and it's not an easy task. And I love watching Jaden go because he's so good at it, but it sucks, man. It sucks. And yeah. Okay.
And it does. Well, quick too is I'm going to talk about why social media is important, because the NWA does not do a good job at this. Social media is a commercial. It's the same thing in Saturday morning when you used to sit down with your cereal and watch like He-Man or Transformers, which was, we all know, was a 30-minute commercial with commercials in between, and you wanted to buy every single product. You wanted the wrestling buddies, and you wanted the My Pet Monster, and you wanted every one of those toxic cereals and those radioactive colors that had more sugar than you can imagine, because that was a commercial to do so. Well, nowadays, the social media is just as big of a commercial. It's there to promote you. It's there to promote your product. And if you're a wrestling promotion, you're both a brand and a product, and you have to promote both. Because how are they going to buy the brand and how are they going to buy the product if nobody knows about it? You can have the greatest product in the world, and if nobody knows it exists, you're going to go out of business. And that's the same thing with this. So you need social media, because it is a tool to really put out a commercial there. So now you can sell your t-shirts, you can sell your videos, you can sell your tickets to your shows, you can sell each individual wrestler. And it's what you need to do. You also need the big four. It's the big three and technically YouTube, but you need to have the Facebook for the older people. You need to have the Instagram for the middle, and you need to have the TikTok for the younger. And something eventually will come around, and that'll probably switch around. Because I remember when Facebook was for the old people, and when MySpace was for the old people, and Facebook was for the new. But new things are going to come around. You're going to have to switch your priorities. But you need to have the big three and YouTube to put yourself out there to create any kind of success. And Jay does a good job of it too. I see things on his YouTube page every once in a while. But I see things on TikTok, and I see things on actually, if anything, I see the least amount on Facebook.
Yeah, I've
promote to your audience, man.
Well, yeah, I know. I try to go different routes, right? And I find the least amount of benefit on Facebook, on Meta. So that's where I tend to spend the less time. Like, for a while there, I was going on Blue Sky and X and all of them, right? Like, I was going everywhere, and I wasn't seeing a big return on investment. I see a lot of growth on TikTok. I see a lot of growth on mostly TikTok, to be quite honest. I mean, you guys see my YouTube numbers. They're not hidden, but like, it's hard to get momentum going on Meta, and I'm working on it, and I've been working with other people too to kind of help grow the channel there, but it is not an easy task. And anyways, I did want to go on to the next topic, if that's cool with you two gentlemen.
Yes.
And that is, like, let's talk about the Thrillbilly, Silas Mason, the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. I think first and foremost, it needs to be celebrated. Just what he's already done as World's Heavyweight Champion. Now we know he beat Thom Latimer at the 77th anniversary show. Our good friend Rick Del Santo was there, provided an audio clip and a video clip. And one of the coolest moments, I think, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't foresee Thrillbilly winning that title. That wasn't something that was on my bingo card for 2025, and I'm thrilled that he did. But I was kind of shocked that he did. And you know, he won the title. Then he's already defended it against JAC. Now that wasn't a great match, but he got that first title defense underneath his belt, and he's scheduled on December 13th to defend the title against Thom Latimer one more time. And that match is scheduled to be a part of the Tampa TV tapings that are taking place this Saturday, 2 days from now. That's going to be a 2-night taping in Tampa. If you're in Tampa or near Tampa, you can go. I said 2-night. It's a 1-day, 2 taping event. So there'll be an afternoon and an evening taping. If you guys are in the area, you should definitely check it out. I think the tickets are fairly reasonable. And it's something cool to do. You could be live on TV if you're in that Tampa market. But more than that, Thom Latimer gets to challenge for the 10 pounds of gold one more time on television. There, I know that next week they'll be having a number 1 contenders match between Thom Latimer and Trevor Murdoch, both former champions. Trevor Murdoch, a 2-time champion, and they will be wrestling for that number 1 contender spot. And the winner of that match is supposed to face Thrillbilly at the Salwen pay-per-view. And then on top of that, he is also scheduled for his first title defense in Joe Cazana Promotions on December 17th, which is next Wednesday. He'll be taking on Zuka King for the. He'll be defending his title against Zuka King for the 10 pounds of gold. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with Zuka King, he's a 10-year veteran in the area. He wrestles for AML, CPW, VPW. He is currently the OSCW champion. He also regularly wrestles for Joe Cazana Promotions. Believe it or not, he's actually challenged for the television title against Bryan Idol and teamed up to challenge for the U.S. tag titles against the Country Gentlemen. So although he isn't been on the main roster, he's actually challenged for 2 NWA titles in the past. And, he's obviously hoping that he'll get success on in Joe Cazana Promotions this next Wednesday. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's exciting to see that it, especially towards the end of the year, a lot of guys kind of mail it in, like, hey, they're not going to take a lot of bookings because it's towards the holiday season. We're not seeing that from our World's Heavyweight Champion. Thrillbilly Silas Mason looks like he's going to finish the year with at least 2 more title defenses. And then, of course, 2026, the world is his oyster. First, I'm going to ask you, Rick, because again, you've been spectating the NWA for so long. What does Thrillbilly Silas Mason have to do in 2026 to take that big step to separate himself from everyone else and to get that spotlight shining on him in the 10 pounds of gold?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. And I think that he just needs to, well, first off, he needs a social media presence. That's one thing. Okay. Because he's not very good at social media, but this dude, I mean, he's already one of the best workers in the game. He just needs to keep having these freaking great matches and just keep moving forward that way. And who knows? Who do you think are going to bring in this year to meet him for the world title this year? I mean, they usually bring in people randomly. What's a good option this year? Do you think Holliday's an option for Thrillbilly?
I definitely think Holliday would be a good option. I kind of feel like they should maybe keep those two separate for a while, and maybe if see where Holliday's at 6 months from now, see where Thrillbilly is at 6 months from now, and something that they could definitely build towards. Right. But I think if you're just trying to bring in name recognition, there's a whole slew of guys who, either be MLW or guys who are working part-time with TNA Wrestling. I feel like there's so much good talent that's available. But I think there's a lot of a wealth of talent. Of course, like at some point, I'm hoping we get a Hammerstone match, a rematch from the 77th, this time with the title on the line.
That could happen. I think that could happen.
is there anybody, like we kind of talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but is there somebody out there that you think that, hey, this guy could really, Sean Vega says Danny Limelight. Is there anybody out there, Rick, who you think, like, if they brought this guy in, everybody would be talking about it?
What's the guy that they just brought in? Former Chase U guy that has been working with United Wrestling Network as well. Stu Hudson.
Oh yeah.
That guy. I think that guy. He looks like a professional wrestler. You know what I mean? And I saw him against Holliday at the Gotham show. Now, mind you, I was not watching NXT when he was a part of it, and I've just kind of gotten into him or noticing him when he was with United Wrestling Network, and I think he made an NWA appearance a couple of weeks ago. And I got to tell you, I've been really impressed with this guy. That guy could go for the title, I think, if they kind of bring him in as a kind of sort of full-time type dude, build a really good storyline around it. I think that he can have a really great match, and more than deserving of a world title shot. I mean, look at the way the guy looks. He could be an NWA world champion and a good representative, because that guy, the way he looks, he could probably sell tickets. He could be that next thing, and he's already got the name associated with him, former WWE guy or NXT guy. He could help raise the NWA a little bit more in that fashion, I think.
It's kind of the way that I see it is like the poster test, right? Like, when Thom Latimer, and I do believe Thrillbilly Silas Mason also fits this as well, and even EC3, all three of those guys, if you put them on a poster for AEW, for TNA, for the WWE, for New Japan Pro Wrestling, they don't feel like they're out of sorts. You know, like they look like they belong on a poster. They look like they could be in any wrestling company, any place in the world. And Duke Hansen 100% is that guy. Like he has a great look. He's built like a brick house, and he definitely has. He comes from that EPW relationship that it's oddly enough that Dave Marquez and the NWA back in Pro Wrestling Organization days had that relationship with EPW in Australia. That's Explosive Perth Wrestling and Explosive Pro Wrestling. They were bringing in talent from Perth like Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, Bronson Reed, Slex, Damian Slater, and of course this gentleman Duke Hansen used to be I think it was like Elliot Sexton was his name before joining NXT, and this dude looks phenomenal. And I think you're right. He's definitely he is the first guy that I would think of, but I feel like if they brought him in, he's the guy that could be that guy. They could make him, kind of build him in their own image, and I feel like that would be pretty successful. Our pal King Sean Mega says, "Is Cross still available?" That's another good choice too. I think Cross would be very interesting in that position. And Jaden, I'm going to pose the same question to you. Thrillbilly's by the time 2026 kicks off, he'll have already had a title defense and Joe Cazana Promotions. There'll be a match in the can from this TV taping that's happening on the 13th. Hopefully we'll have seen him wrestle for Sao Wen and defending the title against that opponent from that event. So that's like 3 matches defending the title. What does he have to do to stand out in 26?
Well, I watched the Hawk do his review of the 3 episodes of NWA Power, and I actually like his new direction. He's still making fun of what's stupid, but he is a lot more positive, and he does put over the people that he thinks do have something special, and he does put over the Thrillbilly Silas Mason, and he says already the NWA's done a better job in the little bit in these 3 episodes with him than they did with Latimer. But here's what they need. I planned out this roadmap. I said it already. I'll go over it again. I know he has a new publicist who is putting himself out there. His new publicist does not have him on TikTok yet, but he does have him on Facebook. He has him on X, and he has him on this publicist has probably on Instagram and stuff like that. He needs a better YouTube presence. He really needs a better YouTube presence. They need to take anything they can. And if they're going to do socials, he needs to cut promos. He needs to have a specific day that he cuts a promo. Then he also needs to cut promos for upcoming events that he's doing. He needs to have pictures out there He's already got some cool little things like his MMA training that he's shown to do and other cool little things, but he needs more pictures out there. He needs more highlight videos of anything he's ever done. He needs people, he needs like segments where they take little shorts and of him against like people like EC3 or anybody who's got any kind of name value. And he needs to be associated with people that are moving the needle in some positive way. All right, Jack Vaughn is an early example. Somewhere on one of those indie events, he needs to be against Jack Vaughn. He needs to be against Richard Holliday. I think he needs to strike now while Holliday's hot, because right now you need this push on him. So use the rocket on Holliday to push Thrillbilly even further. He needs wins over Ben Bishop, over Karrion Kross, Killer Kross. He needs wins over Donovan Dijak. He needs wins over what was the guy's name who just worked for Dog? I just had his name in my head. I'd lost it. Nick Camarado, another big guy, has a great look to him. So he needs to be seen in there with talent that matters. If Cardona's still able to take bookings, he needs to be seen in there with Cardona. If he needs to be in there with anybody who has some kind of positive momentum, some kind of name value, if you can get him against young up-and-coming talent that's got a name value, he also needs to be on the territories. He needs to be on every territory show, Exodus Pro, and Joe Cazana Promotions and NWA New York, if even though it's not an official territory. They need to get him in so many places. He also needs to be on wrestling promotions that gain some kind of eyeballs. You grassroot him as much as you want for these Alabamas and Tennessees, but he also needs to be on the Beyond Wrestling or somewhere where people are actually watching and paying attention to it. Again, Maple Leaf Pro is not the be-all end-all that the Discord calls it, but it's somewhere to gain some eyeballs. I personally would love to see him in All Japan Pro Wrestling against the rest against there, and then a match against Davey Boy Smith Jr.
We call him Harry on this show.
I don't care if he has a lot of hair on him or not. He needs to be. That'll be so amazing. Can you imagine Terry Gordy versus Davey Boy Smith? That's what you're kind of getting in this one.
Yeah, no.
And actually, I don't have to imagine it because I saw it on YouTube not long ago. But he needs to be in there with people that matter: former WWE guys, former AEW guys, Impact Wrestling guys, MLW guys, anybody the NWA has that can help build him up. A good opponent for him is going to be Wrecking Ball Legursky. Rick, you just call PPW and say, "Hey, let's do Wrecking Ball versus Thrillbilly. I will help promote it if you need the help." But can you imagine that match on one of your cards and where you are, and all of a sudden, I doubt many people know who Thrillbilly is when they see that name on the poster, but he looks like somebody's got the 10 pounds of gold, which helps. And then him versus Thrillbilly, him versus Wrecking Ball, just absolutely tearing the house down. And you can see how that could eventually bring you money. Next time he's on the poster, people are going to come pay to see him. Yeah. But he needs to be seen out there as many places against as many people. He also needs to have some kind of presence where he's on podcasts. Obviously, to really be a star, he's got to be on the alliance-wrestling.com podcast. But there's also, which I know I heard is coming, right?
Yeah, we reached out to his the publicist of champions, Poil Del Mar, and in 2026 he should be making his presence felt.
But he needs to be on the Chris Van Vliet and the James the British guy and with Dutch Mantel. I think Dutch Mantel would fall in love with him. He would sit there and swoon over a Thrillbilly. So he needs to be on to do something with that. If you can get him on Jim Cornette, I think Jim Cornette would swoon all over him. Brian Last will hate him because Brian Last hates everybody, but I think Jim Cornette would swoon absolutely over him.
Does Cornette do guests?
Yes. He doesn't do them often.
It's kind of rare.
But he had when he was working with the people who did the Beyond the Ring, or what was it called, the Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of
And
the
when he
Ring.
was working with the movie, he's done something like that. And anybody who has a book that he's friendly with, he helps promote those too. He had somebody who
Brian
had Rick
Solomon. Brian Solomon on the reason? Yeah.
Somebody
Sorry,
had Rick Del Santo as a guest on it, or Brian Solomon.
Yep.
Yeah, he had them on there. And anybody, like, if he has a book that he's promoting or something like that. But if somebody could reach out to him and get it done, that's your core audience that's going to fall in love with Thrillbilly. And you got to get him out there on the what's the thing with Bubba Ray and
Busted Open.
Yeah, why isn't he on there? I mean,
people still listen to that. I don't know. Yeah.
I have a Sirius XM subscription, and it's so when I go into work, I do listen to it. I scream at the radio sometimes, like, shut up, dude. Like, I say that like at least one segment a week. But yeah. The other thing, and I don't mean to interrupt, Jane, and we'll go back to it, but you guys do know that I like to venture out down the south of the border. I go to Tijuana to see the Crash Lucha Libre shows, and
the Dawson show.
I've never, and I won't. That horrifies me. Please don't ever say that again. The next card that they are running is January the 16th. Already announced for this event is, not super popular in the United States, but very big in Mexico still. Alberto El Patron will be wrestling. Also on that card will be Baron Corbin. The artist formerly known as Baron Corbin will be wrestling on that event. Bishop Dyer, I guess we should call him. Of course, the Crash Tag Team Champions will be returning down to Tijuana as Carl Anderson and the Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, the Good Brothers, will be down there for that event. And I guess my question to both of you is, would it make sense? Would it make sense for Billy Corgan, the National Wrestling Alliance, to ship Thrillbilly Silas Mason down to TJ and have him wrestle in Mexico with the 10 pounds of gold?
Yes. Yeah. If he's got no association with AAA anymore, he's got something that should Crash. If he can get him on there, it's a world's championship. And so why don't he defend it around the world? In Mexico, last time I looked, Tijuana is part of the world.
It is. It's a pretty big city in Mexico.
Yeah.
In Baja California.
Can you imagine if somebody, like, if he had somebody manning the phones for him and getting him booked in Tijuana, getting him booked in Maple Leaf Pro, getting him booked in All Japan Pro Wrestling, getting him booked in a tour of Australia that has nothing to do with Smashing Pumpkins, getting him booked in Puerto Rico, getting him booked in United Kingdom, getting him booked in all over the United States.
He actually, and I'm sorry to cut you off, earlier this year, he and Alex Taylor did a tour out in the UK. And Taylor defended the junior heavyweight title, and I think collectively they defended the U.S. tag team titles while they were out there.
That's perfect. And then why can't he do the same thing for the world title? I'm sure he needs the Wrestle Pro wrestles in Alaska. Yes. When was the last time you heard the NWA World Heavyweight Championship defending in Alaska?
That would be awesome. Look, I flew all the way to China to see Nick Aldis defend the 10 pounds of gold against Colt Cabana because it was the first time, and evidently maybe the last time, that the 10 pounds of gold was defended in communist China. Sorry, TikTok. I would definitely be interested in traveling to Alaska to see the 10 pounds of gold defended for the first and perhaps maybe the last time in Alaska.
One of the wrestlers who wrestles there often is we're talking about Falaba. What about Thrillbilly and Falaba in Alaska? Or Sean Donovan, or any of the people that wrestle for Wrestle Pro. You know, that can mean something. That footage should be out there. If he does wrestle these places, though, he has to have an agreement that he's allowed to take highlights from these things and showcase them. You know, there's some wrestlers in the NWA he needs to wrestle. I still can't wait to see him if he faces Mondo one day, or him and Hammerstone, or him and the Pope. Him and Mims even catches my attention. That excites me.
Xandar Zazabo challenged for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in 1957 in Alaska. But I don't know who the champion was in 1957. It doesn't list who he wrestled for that match. But there you go. It has been defended in Alaska, but it's been about 60, maybe 70 years since it's been there.
All right. Well, it's about damn time. I think it's past due.
It's in 1957.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can figure that out. I don't know. Who knows?
That's what
It's
YouTube.
possibly Eduardo Carpentier, maybe.
Eduardo Carpentier, Sando Salazar. That actually would make sense. That he is another one of that generation's wrestlers.
Yeah. It said, wait,
technically-
I'm sorry, Jaden. What was the date?
It didn't give me a date. Just said 1957.
Just 1957. Okay.
Tap. So while he's looking that up, he needs to have a presence. Also, I think if he's wrestling Joe Cazana, I know it's next week. Can you get him on some kind of local Monday morning, early morning, Good Morning America show to pipe that and send that footage to Pollo and have that footage out there so we can all see those promos again? And the same thing for when he's in Alabama.
Okay, I was wrong, and in 2024, EC3 defended the title against Tyler Payne in Anchorage, Alaska, and we even reported about it on the Alliance website. And I forgot. Also, just for a side note, Allison Kay defended the Women's Championship in Alaska back in 2019.
Was that for WrestlePro?
I think EC3, yeah. EC3 wrestled for WrestlePro, I believe.
Well, it's still a big accomplishment. We need to do that.
Oh, and for more information, going to the Alliance website, who wrote this article? It was me. Allison Kay made history on December 7th, 2019 for defending the title in Alaska. And then it was Luthez defending the title against Sanders Zasbo at the Griffin Park in Fairbanks, Alaska. The match went to a time limit draw. So there you go. That was 62.
Can we get
Go ahead.
Thrillbilly versus a polar bear?
I think that would be the fight of the night.
A Pizzly bear, even better. I heard those are extra ornery. That's because they can't brush all those teeth.
They got all them teeth and no toothbrush to clean them. Hey, so what I'm hearing resoundingly from both of you is it's not just what Thrillbilly can do, but what his social media presence could grow and where he can get booked, which will really put a spotlight on the 10 pounds of gold and Thrillbilly Silas Mason. Now, that's the next question I have for both of you before we get on to Power, but is it the NWA's responsibility to highlight Thrillbilly Silas Mason in the 10 pounds of gold, or is it Thrillbilly Silas Mason's responsibility to promote the 10 pounds of gold in the NWA? Like, how does it work?
Yes, that's the answer to that question.
Yes, I knew that.
NWA.
It's probably more so the NWA considering it's their company, and if they want people to freaking show up to their shows and et cetera, and actually make people care about their champion. But Thrillbilly also post. I mean, how many wrestlers do you see on social media? Twitter, TikTok, I don't know, the dreaded Facebook, Instagram. How many of those wrestlers do you actually see post on all those social medias? A lot, tons. So he should be part of it as well. But maybe I think it might be the NWA, more so the NWA's responsibility if they want him to succeed as a NWA champion.
Yeah.
On the Alliance page on Discord, there was a talk about why one of the promoters of the United Wrestling Network doesn't bring in the UWN champion, and somebody was like, "Well, if they're not bringing him in because nobody knows who this person is, and it doesn't draw, and nobody cares, and whose job is it?" Well, it's a promotional person to really get that champion over. It's the company, if there's a sanctioning body like UWN or the NWA, and it's the promotion bringing them in, and on the wrestler too. If you can build, you can take anybody if they have some talent and marketability, and if you build them right, great promos, highlight packages, good matches, getting them on the morning shows, getting them on socials, getting them on everything else to really get everybody to know who it is. You can build the anticipation for people wanting to see that. You can make this champion sound great. One of the ways to do it, and I thought the NWA was going to do it, but it didn't quite do what I think they should have. When that very first episode of Power, after he won that championship, they had Latimer and they had Murdoch come out. They also should have had the Pope. They also should have had EC3. They also should have had Big Head Smooth. They also should have had Hammerstone. And they should have had a good 6 contenders out there, all putting their name out. And now all of a sudden, now you have a roadmap of all these different wrestlers who are potential challengers for that 10 pounds of gold. And if you have wrestlers that mean something, that can cut a good promo, that are good in the ring, that have a good look, sitting there talking about they want that championship and how much they want it. And every promo, if anybody should talk about, I'm going to win this match today because I'm moving up that ladder because I want to be NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I'm coming after you, Thrillbilly, and I'm coming to take those belts away. Everybody that's got some kind of promo, instead of these wasting time on these stupid skits and backstage garbage and all that stuff that they show, and the stuff with the video game store and the lawyers and all that other stupid stuff. They should be spending that time with these promos, everybody talking about the match, putting themselves over, putting their opponent over, putting over a NWA championship, and ultimately putting over the fact that they want to be the World Heavyweight Champion, the oldest world championship and sanction in professional wrestling, the oldest sanctioned body in professional wrestling, a championship that has all this history and lineage that goes back to 1908. Talk about everything in that, and they're all the former champions, and talk about how you want to be on that list, and talk about how you want to face Silas Mason, and you're going to win this match so you can move up that ladder and make more money and become the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Everybody should be doing that, but that segment should have started that. That would have been a great ultimate segment. And then that segment, every part of that should have been on every kind of social media possible. Every wrestler involved should have been hyping it. Thrillbilly should have been hyping it. The NWA should have been hyping it. And anybody who's out there, all the territories, they should be the same thing. Their top 5-6 wrestlers should definitely be talking all the time about how they want to be the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And that gives you 5-6 challengers to build up. Then now you get them a bunch of wins. You get them a win and put a good opponent and get themselves out there. And then all of a sudden they get a match against Thrillbilly and it means something.
I mean, we make it sound so simple, and I really think it should be that simple.
It is that simple. Wrestling here's how you make money doing wrestling. You take a good guy, you take a bad guy, you put him in a match, you talk about why that match is going to happen. Personal issues sell tickets. You create a little personal issue, you talk to everybody about why this is happening, tell everybody why they can't miss it, and have the talent in there to back up your claims. Simple.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, obviously we've been talking a lot about the NWA, of course. Richard Holliday, your new NWA Midwest Champion, and can the NWA capitalize on his name and value in 2026? And I think collectively we think they should. We just don't know if they will. We were just wrapping up talking about Thrillbilly Silas Mason, your NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, won the title at NWA 77. He is slated to defend the title twice in the next week. This Saturday, he'll be defending against Thom Latimer at the TV Tapings in Tampa, and then again on the 15th against Zuka King in Tennessee for Joe Cazana Promotions. So those matches are coming to you. Make sure if you're in those areas to check out the NWA. But we're gonna recap their weekly television show that airs every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports. Did I say that right? 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. or is it? No, it's 8 p.m.
It's 8 and 11, I think, right?
8. Yeah, I was saying West Coast time. 8 and
Oh, my
11
bad.
East Coast times on the Roku Sports app, and I think they have a replay also on Saturdays. I'm not sure what time that is. And then, of course, it's available on demand on the Roku app. You can just search up the National Wrestling Alliance, and
You could watch it like 8 a.m. So
yeah, you don't have to wait for it to debut. Sometimes you can watch it at 7 in the morning if you want.
Yep.
It just depends on how much wrestling you are ready to watch. And on both Pluto and on the Roku app, there is Wrestling Central, which is an amalgamation of matches and wrestling programs from Women of Wrestling and the National Wrestling Alliance. All of it's a little bit older, but still, if you're just wanting to watch wrestling, you have options. This episode is the 8th episode of season 25, titled Homeward Bound, which I don't know what's more ridiculous, the names I come up for the podcast or the names that they come up for on these TV shows. I have no idea how this was anywhere homeward bound. It didn't make any sense to me. We get Austin Idol in the commentary booth already. That's a deduction.
That's just as, we wanted Billy gone so bad, and then I tune in today and Austin Idol's in the booth, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know which is what. Well, Billy's probably worse. At least Austin has knowledge, but he's ridiculous as well. Like his, trying to be funny and heelish, he comes off ridiculous.
It came across as, "Hey, everybody, somebody come grab your grandpa. He's in the commentary booth." It reminded me of Art Donovan. If you want to go back to the very bad commentator for the WWF, I think it was SummerSlam. It was horrible. It was detracting. It was everything he said was. It took away from the product and took away from the credibility. It didn't seem like he had a clue what was going on. It sounded like it was time to take his meds and be sent back to the home.
Well, he wasn't the only one, because at one point Joe Cali was trying to say Aaron Stevens and called him Austin Idol right on commentary, and Danny Deals tried to cover it up. He goes, "You mean Austin Idol sitting right next to you?" And it was just it was not.
I did hear that. Yeah.
I feel like Idol recently announced that he has retired from pro wrestling. Like there's no more. I think he's done with the NWA. I think he even closed up his wrestling school.
He sold his ring. Yeah,
that's what he alluded to, anyways. And over on our TikTok, Stuart Bailey 516 said Austin Idol is the inspiration behind Hulkamania. And what else did he say? Austin Idol was the man back in the day. I'm not taking anything away from what Austin Idol was, what he did, what he's done for the business. But now in 2025, he seems like he's not necessarily got all of his bearings around him. And having him on commentary, I think, hurts the product more than it helps. Back in the day, when you bring an old veteran onto the commentary booth and they would have insight to the wrestling, and they would have a lot of interesting things to say about the sport, where Austin Idol doesn't really add any value to the commentary at this point. A couple of years ago, we had Tim Storm transition from an in-ring wrestler to a commentator. He did a phenomenal job, and I would not have a single problem at all with Tim Storm being back in the commentating booth.
He's great, I think, in the booth.
But he wanted to go back to wrestling, and I can understand that too. You only got so many years in the body, you got so many bumps on that card, and at some point, you can't do what you used to. So he's back in the ring, and occasionally we have Idol on commentary. What was so weird is last week, they had the Austin Idol Invitational Battle Royal to determine the number one contender for the national title. And then last week, it was like a Mandela effect. They didn't reference it as the Austin Idol Invitational. They were calling it the Fred Kohler Cup, which is an event that NWA Chicago promotes. Has nothing to do with NWA Power, has nothing to do with the national title. And it was just such a, what? And then to put Austin Idol on commentary this week was just like, wait, you erased him from last week's episode, but now he's back in? Like, what are we doing? Just very bizarre.
How bizarre.
Yeah. The opening match is LJ Drake and Carson Drake, the cousins, managed by Aaron Stevens, taking on the Rewind Society. Now, first of all, LJ Drake has now adopted the moniker Lockjaw, which I guess that's what he uses on the independents. But they were very secretive about that initially when he made his NWA debut. Unlike Carson, Lockjaw has no emotion. He's literally a robot in the ring, very expressionless. And what I did find funny, and I tried to take a picture of it, but of course it's not the best quality. But this guy has a Kid Rock tattoo on his calf. That's
automatically disqualified from coolness.
That's freaking Kid Rock. Ball with the ball, the bang, biggie. No, get the hell out of here. I'm done with this guy.
Maybe he wants to be a cowboy, baby.
You can understand where his political beliefs are now.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Just from that. Yep.
This match was, I feel like the Rewind Society has something to offer, but they are strictly used as enhancement during the Tampa TV taping. They never get brought out anywhere else. You'll only see them in Tampa. They haven't been brought to Chicago or they weren't in St. Louis for the anniversary show, or New York or Philly or any of the other big towns, but they are regularly part of the Tampa taping. So you know what their job is when they're there. This match was just to put over the Drake cousins, and really it was all about Lockjaw. 90% of the match he was in the ring. Carson gets the tag and then finishes the match with a sleeper hold, which was so anticlimactic. It made me not care about this match at all. And so I give this one a D. It wasn't entertaining. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't fun. Rick, you watched this one. How bad was it?
First off, was that the Rewind Society?
Yeah.
Get these guys the hell off my TV. Seriously. I was just like, as soon as I saw them, I said, I don't even know. Like, I might just tell Jay I'm not going to do this shit tonight because I'm watching this and I'm like, this is the thing that I'm talking about with the NWA. They'll have weeks of good television and then do a dud like this. And then this Lockjaw fella, no personality whatsoever, no convincing of anything, and he wasn't very talented. I mean, he has a look, don't get me wrong. Like, he has potential with the look, but I didn't care for him very much. And Carson Drake, as of last Saturday, he kind of grew on me. I'm sorry.
What did he do last Saturday?
I don't know. Just that whole thing with at the NWA Exodus show. It kind of like, I mean, I kind of was like, maybe I've been just kind of hard on this guy. I don't know, really. But, he's kind of dorky. But, he's kind of but he's kind of, he kind of grew on me that week for some reason. But this match here, I'm going to give it's a dud. I was just like, when you have an opening match for your television show, that's supposed to draw the people in. This did the complete opposite. Like, I just was not entertained. The Rewind Society, it's a lame gimmick. I just want professional wrestlers that look like professional wrestlers. I want professional wrestling to look like professional wrestling. That's it. I know I sound like the grumpy old man that yells at clouds, but it's true.
Don't steal DK's gimmick. And also, by the way, if Carson Drake is growing on you, I'm sure there's an ointment that can help get rid of that.
Thank you.
I also, before we go any further into this show, right, I want to just wish baby Kylie a very happy birthday. I think she's officially 19 now? I don't know, but supposedly it's her birthday today. So happy birthday, Kylie.
Happy birthday.
We'll just call her Kylie Page for legal purposes. And Jay knows why.
Yep.
Post-match, Luca says, you sound like somebody that wants a bowl of ice cream when they order ice cream. Yeah.
Who's that? Me?
Yeah. Well, no, I think he was saying it's crazy for you to want wrestling on a wrestling show, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just all I want is good old-fashioned professional wrestling. This is where I go back. YouTube's my favorite invention in the whole world. And Jaden knows this, that I probably sit there and watch 99%. The only time I watch modern wrestling is when I'm tuning in the NWA, really. And I'm watching stuff from the 70s and 80s, like 95% of the time, we'll say.
Double D says, yes, RDS. CBD is the shit. I don't think I agree with you, Double D, but I'm glad that both of you guys are enjoying. You're both Northeastern guys. Maybe it's something about Drake in the Northeast. I don't know.
It's in the water, I guess. It's in the water.
First of all, I'm a Northeastern guy, and I think Double D forgot to put the word drizzling in front of that shit.
That was good.
You forgot a word there. As my pot of ramen noodles are starting to fall over. But Kylie, by the way, recently wrestled against Notorious Mimi, and then was working out with Notorious Mimi. And Mimi's a very strong, talented young women wrestler. Had a brief run in NXT, and recently fought for the WWE ID Women's Championship too in a tournament for that. But they had a good match, and I think if we're going to talk about Kylie, I think her versus Mimi should be something the NWA should be going toward. Great look, great talent, and that match could be a lot of fun. Because right now their women's division's kind of shit, and I think we're going to talk about that a little bit with upcoming matches that was happening.
Real quick, Kylie Page was born in 2003. That makes her 22 years old. If you don't want to feel old, what can I say, man? She's a kid. She's a baby. But happy birthday, Kylie. You're welcome to come on the podcast anytime. We love
you send an invite out to her?
No, but I mean, look, I will, right? I will eventually. Look, it's weird to reach out.
She ain't coming on. You're calling her a baby, first of all.
But in the most nicest way possible. She's young. She's so young in her career, and she's so established. And I've said this before, and I'm not just saying this because it's her birthday. I feel like Kylie is probably the most. I have the highest expectations for Kylie out of all the women in the NWA currently. You look at Tiffany Nieves, you look at Kenzie Page, who I think the world of, Markova. I think Kylie has the highest upside out of all the women that are in the NWA currently. All right.
You said upside or backside? Because I'm not sure when it comes to you.
I'm talking about her wrestling prospectus and her prowess. I'm not talking about her backside. That would be a DKM comment.
I know. I had to throw it in there because he isn't here.
He's
but
MIA, huh? Misses the season finale.
He'll be back in January. He's going to pick up your slack when you depart for a few months.
He was yelling at a cloud and it kept moving, and the problem is he got lost. He hasn't found his way back yet. So what next happened? Hopefully we skipped the segments.
Yeah, well, we got I kept everything brief this week. Post match, Carson Drake basically calls out Colby Carino, and which is kind of weird because the guy's hurt. He's not wrestling. So, and I don't know.
My question is, how recovered is he? Because he seemed to be moving okay neck-wise with that brace on. So I wasn't sure if it was how is he healed up a good portion? And when did he have that surgery? I'm trying to remember. Was it over the summer?
It was after the Crockett Cup, but before the 77 anniversary show. So
77 was August. I think Crockett Cup was in the springtime, right? I think
like late May, early June.
That's probably too early to be moving the way he was. I mean, not that he was doing anything, but moving the neck around like that. But yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and it was surprising to see him in the ring. Like we did see him last week, and it was kind of the inspirational story. He's had a hell of a wrestling career in such a short amount of time, and obviously his style of wrestling lends itself to high risks, and of course he's got a damaged neck, and they don't know when he's going to be back in the ring, but they're already planting seeds out of him and Carson Drake feud down the road. Carson Drake saying that he would have broken his neck if he knew he'd have to face himself, and this stuff like that. And then see, and you like that.
It's lines like that that kind of made me like it.
Damn it.
It's funny, maybe not.
We're all entitled to our opinions, Rick. I'm not gonna
dark sense of humor, but
I'm not gonna yuck your yum. If you're enjoying Carson Drake, I'm not going to shame you for it. He's not my cup of tea. cup of the tea? He's
Cup of the tea.
all of a sudden I'm Santino Morello over here. Isn't that my cup of the tea, John Cena?
John
Yeah, John Cena. But like again, I don't expect everyone to like what I like either. You know, like we've talked about this before. I'm a huge Lucha Libre fan. Some people call that flippy dippy stuff. I think it's amazing. I love Lucha Libre, but that's not for everybody.
We're also two different sides of the country. So I mean, like what we grow up around, like you probably see more Lucha Libre than I do.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, we've established you have broad pet taste because like avocado, you like the red NWA TV title. You know, we've established that you don't have a good sense of taste.
Blonde hair, blue eyes. Next up, we have it's kind of funny because in the middle of this, we get the Markova promo where she's so excited to be champion. Blah blah blah. Look, she looks great, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do with the title. But like this was the same generic promo we got a few weeks ago. Let's just have her in the match. Colby Carino comes out. He wants Drake when he's healthy. Cool. I'm excited about that too. I feel bad for Colby Carino. I want to see him succeed. I want to see him return when he's healthy. I don't want him back until he's 100% healthy and can go in the ring. And there's a lot of things he can do in the meantime. If he's not cleared to wrestle, he can manage. He could be, he could have him do stuff in the back. He can do
produce. Yeah.
Produce. He could be on commentary. I don't know. Like I'm willing to let him do whatever he wants to do to be involved. But if he's not cleared to go, please don't put him in the ring. Then we get Kratos and Odinson, and they let Kratos do all the talking in this promo. And normally Kratos is okay on the mic, but man, this was kind of, I don't know, kind of cringeworthy. Luthez says Drake reads Don Rickles' books on the shitter every morning. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true.
Don Rickles shit Carson Drake every morning when he was alive, and now that he's dead, he still does, and that's why we have to deal with him.
Next, we get the big skit of the week. Well, there's two of them. This one is then Joe Cazana's office, and he's basically badgering Tommy Henry, and Henry hates Joe. And then this is where AJ kind of takes over the segment, which I'm great with because I love AJ Cazana. I would like to see more out of him. But he basically books the next week's Power. He puts himself in a match with Tommy unless Tommy signs the compliance paperwork, which I don't think that's a real thing. They book Carson, Drake, and Lockdraw Drake versus the Holy Grail. And then the Slime Balls versus the Southern Six for the U.S. tag titles all next week. Plus, we got a number one contenders match. So it looks like next week's episode is already laid out for us. And then, the acting is not great in these segments. And Henry made two wonderful wrestling daughters, and I haven't seen a lot of Crossfire wrestling. I don't know why he gets this opportunity to be front and center. At some point, he is a promoter.
It's a favor. It's a favor for his daughters. Can you please use our dad, or he's not going to let us work here?
He's going to ground us. Yeah, and maybe that's what it is. But
we have already established Billy likes to use like the most ridiculous people to bring in for the NWA and add for territories. And obviously, the two girls were working there a while before Crossfire became a territory for them when he started adding territories. So there's some sort of relationship between the four, the Henrys and Billy.
And it's not to say that, I could see doing stuff with him, but just putting him as such a focus and making him an in-ring talent when he's not really an in-ring wrestler. Like go look him up on Cage Match. How many matches you can find of his.
Put him in the back. sweep the floors.
He could be like a manager type person. His promos aren't great, and the whole point of having a manager is to get people over and taking bumps occasionally.
Right.
He would be okay with taking bumps occasionally, but anyway, I digress. Next up, we get the no DQ match between KC Cazana and Hunter Drake. Again, why is this necessary? I'm kind of glad that DKM didn't watch Power this week, that he's not here this week, because you know what the first thing you would say is, Hunter makes me sad. Sad that he exists as a pro wrestler. This was just no. Look, I see potential with Hunter, right? I can see the potential in this kid. He is a young guy. You know, he doesn't. If I was trying to advise him and coach him, I'd be like, hey, man, you need to be in the gym, get your creatine, you know, naturally get thicker.
Eat a couple of cheeseburgers.
Eat like a dozen cheeseburgers, because he's very, like, look, if he was built a little bit bigger, he might be really good. But because he looks so small, he looks like he's the same size as Kenzie. And that's not a detriment to Kenzie. It's just, you know, he's not a big guy. He's skin and bones.
Yep. He has to run around the shower just to get wet. And the problem is he might fall down the drain. He uses a Cheerio as a hula hoop.
Double D says, Hunter has 2 beautiful sisters after him. Don't feel bad for Hunter. So this match is mostly just KC beating the crap out of Hunter on the outside. I mean, at one point he throws a chair at him. 90% of the match, KC's controlling it. At one point, he got on a chair inside the ring and was setting up to deliver like a leg drop onto Hunter. And even the announcer's like, oh, he's taking way too much time. And I'm like, of course, Hunter's going to get up and like power bomb him or something. No, he connects with a leg drop. And it's like, what are we doing here, fellas? Like, what's going on? This match has zero interest for me, zero credibility. It's boring. I'm not seeing anything that's making me like, hey, this is great. We had Joe Cazana on here, and we had AJ Cazana on here, and both sang the praises of KC. I'm waiting to see the KC that they keep talking about. I want to see KC develop a bad streak, get him in the ring, and just hurt people. I want to see him be a genuine tough guy, and I haven't seen that from him yet. Then the match comes to a finish when Kenzie runs out, interferes in the match, uses Hunter's head to low blow KC, and then they get the victory that way. I don't know, man. This match was a dud for me as well. Jaden, what did you think of this match? Did you watch it?
Unfortunately, yeah, I did, and I did not need to see it. Honestly, I watched it, and I wanted to see if Hunter had anything. I wanted to see if there was a sign that Casey had any a tenth of the ability of Joe Cazana in his prime or AJ Cazana now. And I don't think there's anything I liked. The commentator was incredibly bad during this match too. The commentary. There was nothing at all that I enjoyed about this. At this point, I'd rather watch the segments, the skits.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
Rick, what did you think?
It was okay at the most. I might be being a little too nice. It's the first time I really saw KC in singles action, to my knowledge. I don't recall seeing him in singles. And I didn't think he was like fantastic. I'm definitely, like you said, I'm waiting to see the KC that they're talking about, because I love Joe Cazana. I watched him growing up, and I really love AJ Cazana as well. And I think he's phenomenal. I could see that he could really be something for the NWA as a single star. But this KC, he just not very good. He
needs to go back to the sunshine, man.
Yeah, and I don't really think that that Hunter fella, I'm not really into him either. Every time I see him, I kind of cringe every time they even bring up his name on TV. It's just, he's not entertaining by any stretch.
He's not even Triple H. He's not Double H. He's not even Single H. He's like negative H.
Amazing. Negative H.
Yeah, that's what we're going to call him from now on. I just coined another name. Trademark.
No gimmick infringement.
Where's my royalties?
Well, I guess we owe you now, don't we?
You guys can use.
Let's go to the next segment. We finally got a name for the video game store that they're in, and it's called Bit Crush. We get Mel the employee speaking to, well, I guess more listening to what Thrillbilly Mason is saying. A lot of weird rhetoric, and I didn't know what game they were even talking about, but Thrillbilly's basically laying out time travel to Mel inside of a video game store. And at least they're talking about science fiction stuff in a video game store. I guess that makes sense. And it's weird enough that, I don't know Thrillbilly Silas Mason that well. Maybe he is a huge gamer. I don't know this, but him talking about time travel with Mel seems odd enough. But then you compound that when the slime balls walk into the video game store and are now trying to talk to Silas Mason about a birthday or a championship party.
Yeah, this irritated the frig out of me. I wanted to shut this off at this point. Remember a couple weeks back, last time we were here, we were saying how the slime balls grew on us, and this episode maybe not. They kind of turned them around again.
This was just, I don't know what this does for anybody. Who's watching this and go, slam dunk, yeah, that was great. Good job, fellas. It was clunky at best.
Yeah.
And I don't know how this forwarded any storyline more than just the segment they did later on in the show. This to me is just it's a waste of time. But at least Mel is in the video game store instead of wherever he was the last time. Again, thumbs down. We get to the final match of the night. This was supposed to be Max the Impaler challenging the NWA Women's World Champion, Natalia Markova. My brain's not working today. And I'm like, okay. I thought Markova's last match was at the 77 when they lost to El Nihon the Dragon or something like that. So
I thought
Max was gone.
Max, yeah.
I thought Max was out of the company. Joe Cazana last week said, hey, we want ratings. We're going to bring Max in to challenge for the Burke. Markova versus Max. They have a history. So that's what we're anticipating. That's not what we get. Old bait and switch. We get Serena Vale. Now, I like Serena Vale, and I think, again, another prospect with a lot of upside. I have some notes on her. Serena Vale has wrestled a total of 21 matches in her career. 21 matches. At least that's what Cage Match says. 8 of those matches have been for the NWA and its territories. So her career is still very early, and it's very much in its infancy stage. 4 of those matches that she's had throughout the NWA territories and the NWA power have been title matches. She's challenged for the television title against Tiffany Nieves. She challenged in a triple threat match for the women's title when Kenzie was still champion. She challenged for the tag team titles against TVMA. And now she's getting her 4th title match. As a singles competitor, she has 0 wins in the NWA. And as a tag team wrestler, has 1 win at Crossfire. Why is she getting a world title match? And even just booking this through Joe Cazana's lens, Joe's trying to get ratings and he's trying to screw with the Henry family. Why is he putting Serena Vale, who has been in the business for 2 years, has only wrestled 21 times, has only wrestled 8 times for the NWA, and has had 3 title matches up until this point, getting another title match? How does this make sense for anybody?
I get what you're saying. No, it doesn't.
I think she's a good talent, and I hope that they continue to use her. We recently saw that she was part of the Bailey had a women's wrestling workshop.
Yes.
And she was one of the people there. Also there was Valentina Rossi, but the NWA isn't really marketing that or promoting that. But Serena Vale was, which is cool for her. Hopefully that leads to more opportunity. Hopefully she grows as a women's competitor. And hopefully we see a better Serena Vale, down the road. And she wasn't bad in this match. She actually gave a Markova a pretty decent match. This was a chance for Markova to shine, who I really see as having a big upside this year. Noob is in the chat, and I hope he understands that I think Markova could be a big deal for the NWA in 2026, and I hope that they give her a great run with the World Women's Championship. But I don't know, man. When you put her in the ring against when you promote it as Markova versus Max, and we know this was filmed like 3 months ago, so it's not you're not giving us anything. The whole bait and switch thing, you didn't have to do that. You could have just said, hey, we're going to give this young and up-and-comer a shot at the women's world title, and that would have been fine. But right. I feel like it feels very disingenuous that you used Max's name to promote a match that Max wasn't going to be in. And I think we all knew that Max wasn't going to be there. So that, to me, kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
It came out that she wasn't going to, that she retired, right? Or they retired. Whatever.
Well,
Or left the NWA, I should say.
Yeah, and I think maybe I could look it up. But Max the Impaler hasn't wrestled since the NWA match, since their match against El Dragon Nihon.
Okay.
And I forgot what Max's name is on X, but
I might be mistaken. I thought Max put the announcement out after this taping, so I wonder if it was originally scheduled to be Max, and something happened and there was a fallout.
And that's possible, right? Like, I'm not saying that that's not. Maybe that is the case, but this has been sitting in the vault for 3 months. You couldn't have edited it. You couldn't have look. They changed the name of the Austin Idol Invitational. They are Max. I don't see why they couldn't do the same thing here. But
they couldn't even edit out a chicken joke.
That was many generations ago. I guess
Max, a much better editor.
Yeah, I guess Max is currently in Japan. Max will be in Japan till February 15th for Tokyo Joshi Puroresu. But Max... What'd you say?
Nothing. I'm just saying Japanese words.
Okay. I'm trying to see. Like, I know Max appeared or starred in a horror film too. But on September the 8th, Max the Impaler said, I am no longer with NWA. I'm thankful for my time there and everyone that supported me. For now, that is all I have to say. And this match, and I'm going to try to find the date real quick because I saw it a few moments ago.
I'll have to say about that.
This match was filmed on September 5th. So 3 days after this match had been filmed, Max said that they were leaving the NWA. So maybe they did play a role into it, which, okay, but still, it's been sitting in the can for 3 months. You could have edited it to make it less awkward, less clunky. Again, it felt like a very bait and switch for me. But the match itself was pretty good. Serena Bell is an up-and-coming talent, and I think I hope she's part of the NWA's long-term plans. But Markova did need a very good victory here, which she had. And then post-match, Judy Lee Thomas, who represents the Joe Cazana Promotions in this territory storyline, attacks Markova, and then Vale joins in on the attack, and the two Tennessee chicks beat up Markova to kind of close out the show and leave the Burke line on Markova as the show closes out. So my question to you, Rick, is what did you think, Jaden? The same question.
I thought it was pretty good overall, the match itself.
Yeah.
Obviously we've praised Markova's presence and ability in the fact that she won the NWA world title, women's world title. This was her name, Serena Vale? Was that what her name was?
Yeah, Serena Vale.
I was, like you said, it's kind of impressive, I guess, that they would give somebody a world title match at this early in their career. But then again, it is professional wrestling; it doesn't matter sometimes, really. So the way the world of professional wrestling works. But I was kind of impressed by her. I think I've seen her once or twice before, and maybe probably more than that. But I thought that she was pretty good, and she delivered on her end for this matchup.
Yeah. What did you think, Jaden?
I thought it was an all right match. There was a couple clunky spots, but otherwise it was pretty. I enjoyed it. I do see potential in Serena Vale. I know vampires suck, but I think she's got the gothic ability to be able to market something special on that. I'm not batty on this, I know, but I think I might be coughing up the wrong tree, but I think that the vampire thing. I know maybe they need an interview with this vampire, but I think she has some potential to become a big star in the NWA.
Fuck you is all I have to say about that.
Hey, you know what? She can now cross the championship match off of her to-do list.
Well, that's you just put a nail in it right there.
You're right, and the nail in that coffin. I know.
All right.
There was a lot at stake in this match.
Oh my god!
Jesus!
Shut up, dude.
Like
I both love and hate you at the same time right now, Jaden. I just want you to let that be known. Okay.
Velavania going on.
So that does it for Power. Again, this was kind of a low note. We've had a series of matches that I thought were really, really good over the last few weeks. This wasn't it, brother. It's a little pitchy for me, dog.
Real quick, I do think with the tapings, I have a feeling we'll see another women's championship match, and it'll be Big Booty Judy versus Markova, the real big booty queen.
Yeah, I think you are probably correct on that.
I'm calling the future here. I don't have any vampire divination powers, but I can still figure things out like that.
Well, I appreciate you. And then they kind of gave away what we're gonna see next week early. They've announced the number one contenders match between Thom and Trevor. There's supposed to be the U.S. Tag Team title match between the Southern Six and the Slime Balls, and then as I said earlier, AJ Cazana kind of booked himself versus Tommy Henry in a match, and it looks like Carson Drake and Lockjaw Drake versus the Holy Grail. So we kind of know what's going to happen next week on Power, and of course I'll be doing the pre-show on Tuesday to talk about it with you guys. But that's it for us this week. That's it. We covered Power. We talked very positively about Thrillbilly Silas Mason. We talked very positively about Richard Holliday. I think we were both excited about both those new champions for the National Wrestling Alliance. Can't wait to see what they're going to do next. With that being said, now I'm going to relinquish the floor to Mr. Rick Del Santo. Jaden and I will just... that's not the way it's supposed to be.
He posts his picture where he looks like he's about to drop the rap album of 1976.
Rap wasn't a thing in '76, just for the record.
Hey, the first actual rap artist on a record is another vampire, another gothic person in what was the old guy's name?
Screamin' Jay Hawkins. Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about the guy who was the I can't think of his name, but he was an actor and he did a lot of schlock horror movies. Vincent Price.
Vincent Price, yes.
Vincent Price has the first recorded rap album.
Okay. Interesting. So, you want me to just say what I got coming up here, I guess was what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let's see, because first off, I will not be around for once the new year hits for 16 weeks. I will be back in the late spring. I promise y'all. I love you too much, all the in the comedic value that and how much you guys mean to me in my heart and my life. So I will be back probably April or May, I believe. But I've gotten some really good interviews recently that this week dropped Max Payne, aka Man Mountain Rock, former WWF WCW star, and it's probably one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. We speak for an hour and 40 minutes. And there's a lot of great information way before we hit his mainstream status, like early in his career, going to New Japan and such, really early on. For guys that kind of like in the dying days of the territories, the American GI Richie Scruggs I spoke with, that's dropping Monday. He talks about working South Atlantic Pro and what's the other one? Oh, working under George South and the Italian Stallion in the PWF, and Broadway Joe Malcolm, who trained under the Boris Malenko, the great Malenko, working Central States, working Paphos ICW, working Mid-Atlantic, and working Tully Blanchard, guys like Tully Blanchard and stuff, and Eddie Gilbert and guys like that. Action Mike Jackson. So there's a lot of great stories wrapped up in those 3 podcasts. So I want everybody to check it out. And 2026, I got so much coming in the beginning, just in January. So you guys got to keep an eye out. Thank you for everybody that has viewed, watched, and liked, hearted, shared, whatever, any of my episodes and commented. Thank you for everybody that's watched that. Thank you.
That's awesome, man. Now, and I'm going to be listening to, I'll be watching the interview that you did with Max Payne tomorrow. I have that queued up, ready to go for work. Anyway,
what's my name, fool?
Hold on a second. Sorry. Anyway, you could drop DKM's page in the comments here. I'd check out these interviews. I think you mean Rick Del Santo's page. And yeah, give me just a second and I'll pull it up. But in the meantime, Jaden is going to talk about what's coming up next for the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators.
Apparently, Devin thinks all the old people who yell at clouds look alike.
Thanks, Devin.
Yeah, and by the way, talk about you dropping your album. Obviously, you're going to have some turntable work. You said something about vinyl in the background. You do some scratching with that while you do your 1986 rap album.
I was a long time DJ. I'm not sure you're aware of that, and I still on occasion handle that. So,
real quick, if you want to find Rick's YouTube page, I have linked it for you right there. It's at the Rick Del Santo. I always thought it was under Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling.
It changed. It changed over time. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's an easy one to remember. It's just his name, the Rick Del Santo. So follow him on YouTube if you haven't done so already. And if you need a link, it's also on our on the YouTube page. I have listed on our on the channel what are called my co-conspirators. So there's Dog Pro Wrestling, there's Rick Del Santo, there is the Iconic Heroes of Wrestling Excellence Pro Wrestling YouTube page. There's Alliance Late Night, there's Soto 619, and there's Veamos Lucha Libre. Those are all my friends, pals, and confidants, and you could check them out on YouTube.
I forgot how to do that.
I'll teach you, but I have to charge. But what's going on with Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators?
Well, we got a bunch of things coming up. It's really going to be a lot of fun for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. Hoping to hear back about something. Hopefully, I was hoping tonight before so I could have this announcement, but I don't know if that came through yet. But we'll start off. We're done for the year. We got 2026 in the books coming up, and we already have some things announced. There is going to be Friday night, March 6th at Rowan University. We're going to have a Rowan University WrestleMania. I still hate that name. I don't name it. But WrestleMania is going to return for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators at Rowan University. All the champions are currently scheduled to defend their championships. So that's going to be a lot of fun on that. And then on the 15th of March, we are going to be at the Nerd Force Fan Fest. We're going to have a table with Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators action. Not action, but stars. You can check out and meet the different stars at DAWG, get some autographs, do some promos, get some pictures taken, buy some merchandise, and you can just check that out. And then after that, we're going to be on April the 4th. We're going to be at the South Jersey Geek Fest, where there'll be wrestling. Currently, all the champions that are there, I think, are signed. I have to check, but so you'll see if they're assuming they're still champions, you'll see them wrestling for the South Jersey Geek Fest. You pay for the South Jersey Geek Fest, and the wrestling is free as part of it. And the last time we did it, we did about 5 hours of wrestling. So we're going to have a lot of action. So you can check it out throughout almost the entire South Jersey Geek Fest. So you can go buy your crystals and your comic books and your video games and your Star Wars action figures and all the other cool stuff and watch Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators action. So you get a whole, maybe there'll be some Transformers for Jay there or some G.I. Joes or a mask.
Did you say mask?
Mask, yeah.
Like
was
the old
actually-
cartoon? That old cartoon?
Yeah.
No
Yes.
way. That show's awesome.
There's
Yeah.
actually, sorry, we're gonna get right back to it, Jen. There's talk that they're gonna do a Mask movie, and it'd be kind of like equal parts Transformer and like Fast and Furious. So
All right. Let's check that out.
That'd be cool. And gargoyles and every other cool thing. Voltron. So, yes. Was I there when you bought the Goliath, or at least we were talking about it?
you were probably with me when we were talking about it. I don't think you were with me when I bought it because you live in New Jersey.
It was a gift or something. Yeah. Well, I remember we were in Jersey looking at that toy, so that's why I was curious. Goliath.
My daughter bought me for my birthday last year. She bought me this one, which is the robot, the Mecha Steel Clan robot.
Yes.
That one's cool. Sorry.
And then they got to get the red suited Xanatos one.
Yeah, I never saw it. I wanted to.
Son of a bitch.
But anyway, yeah. So you can come get all your cool little action figures and toys and memorabilia, and then watch Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. Maybe even Rick will be there to sell his newest album. And so after that, then there is June 14th at Bill's Barbecue for the Great American Bash. I'm sorry, the All American Bash, and we're going to call this one the All American Barbecue Bash. Currently scheduled, all the champions are scheduled there. A couple wrestlers Rick might know. Ken Powers is going to be there. Ichiban's going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And you might have heard this other guy, Wrecking Ball Legursky.
I heard of him.
Yeah, he's going to be there too. So, and I know they're working on other things out there to try to make that a big event as part of. It's on a Sunday afternoon, June 14th at Bill's Barbecue Bash. There is a lot in the plate spinning and the hoping to work out there, but I wish I had more details on those stuff. But can't announce it's not going to happen. But we're working on it. And Dr. Zirconium was out there putting his name out and trying to really get Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators to be the next big hot thing in professional wrestling. We're not trying to be the next anything else. We're trying to be the first dog. And make sure you guys support us. Check us out on YouTube. There's over 200 hours of wrestling matches on YouTube.
That's insane.
And
man.
most of them have really good wrestlers on them. plus videos and highlight videos, promos, and all kinds of other stuff too. Make sure if you do follow the page, you like, comment, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload of Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators action. That means you Willie Bowen. That means you Double D. Where's my bell? Hit that bell icon. And make sure you check it all out and share those videos. Like them all. Check us out on all our socials. I have no idea what they are, even though I run them. But look up Dog Pro Wrestling, DAWG. I'm sure you'll find it. And buy some shirts from alliance-wrestling.com.
Maybe some W too. Hey guys, can I be serious for a moment?
Surely you can't be serious.
2025, there were 49 episodes of the Alliance Guys podcast. That means for 49 Thursdays, it was me, it was Jaden, it was DKM, it was Rick Del Santo, it was Double D. It might have even been Tim from the other Alliance Guys talking to you about pro wrestling. And I need you to know that I'm ever so grateful for everybody who watches these live streams, who's been a part of this community. We've met up at wrestling shows. We were there in Philadelphia for the 77th anniversary show. If you were there, I gave you a high five. You got a T-shirt, and we hung out, and we built this community together. It's not just J-Cal doing this. It's every single one of you guys who are watching the show, hanging out with us, and making this a fun experience. And we are going to be back in 2026 with a lot more Alliance Guys episodes, a lot more of the Alliance blog episodes, more pre-parties, and who knows, maybe we'll add some more content to this page. I just want you guys to know that you're appreciated, you're valued, and you're cared about. That being said, I wish all of you guys a very happy holiday season greeting, whichever one applies to you. I want you to have the best one yet. I hope you have an amazing new year. I'll be here on Tuesday. I'll be here next Tuesday after this Tuesday. So I'm not going away, but I want our Alliance guys, podcast fans, watchers, viewers, friends to know that you're appreciated, man. Because we would talk wrestling whether you guys are watching or not. We would be on Facebook Messenger, sending messages back and forth, maybe even doing live conversations with each other. It's so cool that you guys get to join us and you guys support us and be a part of this community. So from the bottom of my heart, I do want to say thank you so much, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us for the last 48 weeks or 49 weeks, whatever it is. And we will see you very, very soon at the matches. Good night now. Wait, there it is. It's right there.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.